The government appointed Cleveland an officer of the espionage branch. This officer, who had forced the closure of the national school in Amravati, created an atmosphere of terror in Yotmal too. He threatened the parents and established the police outpost right in front of the school. The net result was that the Vidyagriha came to be closed before Kesav could take the matriculation examination. But Kesav and his friends were not to be so easily deterred from their chosen path. As, as advised by the teachers, Kesav and two others continued their study in Pune. After putting a couple of months of study, Kesav appeared for the Parvesika examination of Calcutta National Vidyapita from the Amaravati Center. Kesav passed and started preparing to move for studies to Bengal, the birthplace of Vande Mataram. Kesav's patriotic heart was thirsting for the sight of that behave for revolutionaries and center of national struggle. In the homeland of Vande Mataram, Kesav came to Nagpur after completing the matriculation examination. By that time, he was completely immersed in public activities. Close to Nagpur is a place called Ramtek, identified as the Ramagiri, described by the poet Kalidasa in his Meghaduta. The annual fair at Ramtek is a mammoth and colorful affair. In those days, sugar was being imported from Java. Kesav therefore thought of replacing sugar pedas made out of milk concentrate by those of jaggery, which was locally available. He got these Swadeshi pedas manufactured and arranged for their sale at a cheap price. How zealous, zealous his patriotism was even in apparently insignificant matters. Kesav had by then developed close intimacy with the revolutionaries. He kept himself informed of the activities of the underground activists in various provinces. One such revolutionary from Bengal went by the name of Madhavadas Sannyasi. He had been asked to proceed to Japan by the Krantidal and had come to Nagpur en route. Kesav arranged a secret hideout for him in the house of Appaji Halde in the Mohopa village till the travel arrangements could be finalized. Appaji Halde, though Kesav's senior by many years, took pride in carrying out Kesav's wishes. As if that was not enough, he even made substantial monetary contribution. After spending 6 months there, Madhavadas left for Japan. The Nagpur group of revolutionaries had established contact with Anusilan Samiti of Calcutta. Indeed, a fund had been collected and forwarded from Nagpur to help the Calcutta activists in the Alipore bomb plot. There is documentary evidence showing that Bhaiya Saheb Bobade and advocate handed a sum of rupees 100 to Kesav for this purpose. Amidst these happenings, the result of the examination were announced. Kesavarao had passed. The certificate carries the signature of Dr. Ras Bihari Ghosh, President of the National Council of Education, Bengal. It is dated 1st December 1909. Completing the matriculation examination was no small matter in those days. It would have been natural for Kesav, with his pecuniary background, to have taken up a job to support the family, but other thoughts had stormed Kesav's mind. His one consuming passion was how to cleanse the motherland of the stigma of foreign slavery. It was hardly surprising that Kesava Rao and other like-minded fiery youth saw armed rebellion as the only solution. Kesava Rao therefore decided to go Bengal, the Kashi of revolutionaries. He was then staying in the house of Dr. Munje, and he too thought it desirable that Kesava Rao should join the National Medical College in Calcutta. With this object in view, Kesava Rao had saved some money earned by private tuitions and as the tutor in Sunday school. The Nagpur revolutionaries also favored Kesava Rao's going to Calcutta to establish rapport with Pulin Bihari Das of Tehu Anusilan Samiti. These details have been chronicled by Ramlal Vajpayee in his autobiography, with financial help from Sri Daji Saheb Booty. Sri Kesava Rao Hedgewar, founder of the RSS, was sent to Calcutta more with the object of receiving training for revolutionary work under the supervision of Sri Pulin Bihari Das, rather than prosecuting higher studies. Thus, in the middle of 1910, Kesava Rao left for Calcutta. 700 miles away from Nagpur, and a place totally unfamiliar to him. He carried a letter of introduction from Dr. Munje. Soon after entering the college, Kesavarao began cultivating the acquaintance of students from various provinces. In his free time, he visited the hostels, different hostels. He endeared himself to everybody by his warm and good humored disposition. It was only during the first 1 year that he was he was a boarder in the Shantiniketan lodge. Though he continued to stay in the lodge during the next 4 or 5 years. On most days he ate in friends' houses. Once in a way he had his food in hostels. The Punjabi students' hostel was located in the Nabutala Mohalla. Sardar Niranjan Singh and Sivatta Parasara, who were intimates of that hostel, were Kesavarao intimate friends. Wherever Kesavarao went there used to be an instant outbreak of revelry. Revelry. Kesavarao snatching away a book from somebody and passing it on to someone else, another putting out the light, and so on. In no time, all the inmates would gather there and join in the fun. And as a result, Punjabi students would eagerly look forward to Kesavarao's visits. The charm and the wit of his speech and the warmth of his behavior would cast its spell wherever he went. Kesavarao often received gifts of Punjabi sweets from those friends. He returned Kesavarao gave them Srikhand made out for condensed curds of Maharashtra. Kesavarao's roommate Kesavarao's roommate was one Nayak, at once friendly and quarrelsome by temperament, and Kesavarao would leave no chance to irritate him. Nayak too would hit back, saying, "After all, you are the head of gavers, fools." That means fools anamata, gavers, fools. Kesavarao would then coolly remark, "Well, with persons like you around me, I have to be the head." As in Nagpur in Calcutta, too, Kesavarao continued his vigorous physical exercises and naturally consumed substantial quantities of milk. He thus possessed an impressive physique, a broad chest, and powerful shoulders. His indeed was a figure with muscles of iron and nerves of steel. Once it so happened that a professor was late in arriving, and the students were having a field day. Haura Babu, Dr. Amulya Ratna Ghosh, a co student, stretching out his arm, challenged Kesavarao. Try and defeat me. You can hammer with all your might. In reply, Kesav offered his own arm and countered, let me see you defeat me first. Haura Babu accepted the challenge and began delivering powerful blows. The entire class watched with stupefaction. Blows continued, but Kesavarao's visage remained unchanged. The unstretched arm was stiff like a ramrod. Recalling the incident, Haura Babu has recorded in the Modern Review, Hedgewar did not budge an inch. Instead, I myself had to give up as my hand began to ache. Eche. Kesavarao's food too was of like proportion. He could at one stretch down 20 to 25 rotis. For some time he had arranged to get his food daily from Madras Meals Hotel. His meals consisted of 20 rotis and the side dishes in similar measure. Another another customer who was also getting his food from the same hotel went to the proprietor and complained. How is it that you send him such a huge quantity of food and not to me? The proprietor replied, if you can really consume the quantity of food that I send to Kesavarao, I shall gladly send you also as much. Earlier I was sending him the normal measure measure of food. He once mentioned that that was not adequate for him. I then invited him to have his food here for 2 or 3 days. I then witnessed his capacity and have since been sending him the requisite quantity of food. The customer, of course, did not dare to take up the proprietor's challenge. Kesavarao was Kesavarao was quick to react at the sight of injustice or high handedness of any kind. One on one occasion, a neighboring Bengali family picked up a quarrel with Kesavarao's friends Sardar Niranjan Singh. They began trying various tricks to drive out the Punjabis from their lodging. During the night hours, stones were pelted on the lodging, but the miscreants could not be traced. One day, Kesavarao happened to be present there when the stones began raining. He immediately rushed to the street below. Niranjan Singh also followed. They encountered two strangers in the lane and soundly beat them. August at this August at this sudden assault, they screamed, "Why are you beating us? Why are you pelting stones on our house?" Returned Kesavarao, "We do not know who has been throwing stones," replied the strangers. Kesavarao thundered, "Somebody threw stones at us, and we in return beat somebody. When the hurling of stones stops, we shall also stop beating up." Thenceforward, stone throwing stopped all of a sudden, as if by magic. Evidently, the lesson had gone home. Kesavarao had once gone to Yotmal during holidays. One evening he went for a stroll in the civil lines area, accompanied by his friends Govindarao Avade and Yadavarao Ane. The British the British district collector happened to came from the opposite direction along with the government medical officer and one other official. Those were the days when the British officers were drunk with power and had kept the people in mortal fear. At the sight of the collector, it had become customary for the local people to stand aside and, as soon as he approached, to offer a reverential salute. This had become almost an unwritten law. Kesavarao's friends apprised him of this convention, but Kesavarao could hardly be expected to bow down to such a haughty, haughty behavior and to stomach the implied insult to the native community. This is a public road, and I see no reason to change my course, replied Kesavarao, and walked on as before. By then the collector was within a few feet, let alone the expected salute. Kesavarao did not even show signs of making way for the officer. Thus the officer was himself obliged to sidestep and go forward. Such a thing had never happened in his life before. After a few steps, the insulted officer turned back and called Kesavarao. Kesavarao responded unperturbed. "Don't you know the etiquette of saluting?" asked the collector. Kesavarao replied, "Why should I bother about the norms of etiquette here? I am a citizen from the capital of the province. We have no such etiquettes there. I am not aware any country where they salute people who are strangers to them." And to top it all, Kesavarao had not even bothered to remove his hands from his coat pockets while speaking. The medical officer Dr. Pedro suggested that Kesavarao should take his hands out. He also advised Kesavarao to off- offer a salute, if not to meet the demands of etiquette, at least to forestall likely trouble. Many thanks for suggestion, said Kesavarao smilingly, and went his way as if nothing had happened. This incident stirred a hornet's nest in government circles. When after Kesavarao returned to Nagapur, Dr. Munje came to know of the incident. Here heartily commended Kesavarao's action. You did the right thing. Kesavarao would not brook the smallest insult to the nation or, its revered leaders. While Kesavarao was in Calcutta, once a public meeting had been arranged under presidency of the well-known patriot Maulvi Likat Hussain. One of the speakers spoke slightingly of Lokamanya Tilak. Kesavarao became furious. He went straight to the dais and slapped the speaker on the cheek.